It's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
All right, he's been joined on the phone line this morning by Surveyor Agu Ogona Roberts, member Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Publicity Secretary, Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, Lagos State Branch. Surveyor Agu Roberts, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Victor. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria.
Right. So we are repeating this subject because we know matters that are considered very, very essential are made to be heard over and over again until even those that are hard of hearing will begin to recite that matter. So we're looking at the roles of surveyors in resolving land disputes and insights as well as testimonies. So let's start with that first. Boundary dispute and litigation. So how important is the surveyor as an expert witness? Let's start from there. Surveyor Akpatiri, you are in the studios. Maybe you take that first shot.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Victor. Well, as expert witness, what do we mean by expert witness? Expert witness is a person with a specialized technical skill, a person who has the education, who has the experience, and who has the training in a particular field. Such person is being called upon in the court of law to give opinions, to present reports, to present explanations on a technical matter in the court of law. So that's an expert witness. So when it comes to a land issue, that is when a surveyor is required as an expert witness in the court of law.
Okay, but he's not the only person that one can start as an expert witness. Is he the only one?
The surveyor is the only person that can stand as an expert witness in the court of law when it has to do with land matters or land disputes.
Why do you say that?
Because the surveyor has the training in that particular field.
Okay.
It's the surveyor that can analyze the geospatial information that is being presented in the court of law. Because when there's a dispute, the parties, that is the litigants, which are the defendants and the plaintiff, they are being asked to submit particular documents relating to the land. So these documents are being reviewed by the surveyor. These documents are being reviewed by the surveyor, and at times, even most times, the surveyor is expected to visit the site for inspection. The surveyor is expected to visit the site for inspection and also analyze the spatial analysis of the information to the court.
Okay. So in most cases, they are the expert witnesses. That's what it means.
Yes, surveyors are the expert witnesses in court.
All right. Surveyor Agu Robert, let's bring it home and look at Nigeria as a case study. So are these evidences being presented in court from the surveyor's perspective?
Yes, when a surveyor is summoned or when a surveyor is invited as an expert to act as an expert witness in the case of boundary dispute or litigation that involves land ownership, whatever document he tenders relating to that matter is admitted into the court as evidence.
Okay.
And in that case, like Surveyor Patira rightly said, for the surveyor to appear as an expert witness in court, it means that he has the trainings, he has the experience, and he has the relevant qualifications and certifications that empowers him to stand as an expert witness to advise the court. Because he's not coming in there as in the interest of any of the parties. He's coming in there as an accessory to the court to aid the judge, the sitting judge, to come up with a decision that borders on the case in question.
All right. So we understand what you just said now, that they are the experts that have the information or perhaps have the knowledge. But is that the case in Nigeria? From what you see, the surveyors' expertise, are they required most of the time when these land disputes are on? Or people go there to say, look, I have knowledge, I am this professional, I have this knowledge, and they go there to, present their own witness, so to say. So is that the case?
No, what obtains is that the surveyor, his credentials will be reviewed before he is even qualified to advise the courts, because the court is not a gathering of unlearned people. The court is what makes up the court. You see, you have the trial judge, who is a qualified legal practitioner, and then of course other members that make up the court, either both the prosecutors and the defendants, the defending attorneys, and all that. So it will be absurd for the judge to be advised by somebody who is not qualified with the relevant certifications. So in the case of Nigeria, for the surveyor to appear as an expert witness, he must have the prerequisite certification by the Surveyors Council of Nigeria to represent himself or to present himself as a surveyor, because somebody whose name has not been entered into the Surveyors Council of Nigeria's register by the law that obtains in Nigeria, by the survey law that obtains in Nigeria, is not qualified to address himself as a surveyor.
All right.
So the court understands this.
All right. Surveyor Patira, they say the person that owns the CFO is the owner of the land, right? In the situation whereby somebody presents a CFO and a surveyor says he's going to testify against this to say this is not correct, who is likely going to win that case?
Well, it depends. It depends on the argument. Sometimes it's not always true that because you have a CFO on a particular land, that does not make you the bona fide owner of that land. When you go to court, because it's possible that your CFO is based on a defected writ of title. Yes, it's possible that your CFO is based on a defected writ of title. What do I mean by that?
Talk to me.
Yes, for example, you bought a land from a wrong owner.
Okay.
And in the course of doing that, you obtained your CFO. If that CFO is being taken to court for any litigation, and an expert witness is being called upon, and the argument is being made by the two parties, and the surveyor is able to present his own case, if the judge finds out that the root of title, the person that sold the land to the person with the CFO, is not the actual owner of that land, then that CFO you are having, it's not a void. So it's not always
the case that
because you have a CFO that you are the owner of that land. No, it's not always true.
Can CFOs be given in error?
CFO cannot be given in error. It is the content in the CFO
that matters,
that can be in error. For example, the survey plan in the CFO can be in error, but the CFO itself, that is why they do deed of verification in the Lands Bureau, that is the land registry of the Lands Bureau.
All right.
If you observe that a particular content of the survey plan in the CFO has issues, is in error, then you can file for deed of verification. That survey will be corrected, but it does not make the CFO null.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just needed clarity on that, Surveyor Agu Robert. So it's not to say, or perhaps one cannot begin to sing glory, glory because he has a CFO and he goes to bed. So what Surveyor Patira is saying here is that the content in the CFO also matters.
Yes, very, very true. And that's why we always advocate for the accuracy of the survey, and all the information contained in it must be of interest to the owner of that property. Don't just rely on every information that has been captured in your survey plan, especially when you have not ascertained the credentials of the person you contracted as a surveyor.
Okay.
You know, you could have contracted somebody as a surveyor, and the person goes in there, uses a compass, and then uses some very funny and inaccurate means of data acquisition to acquire data for your survey, and then prepares a survey plan and issues to you, and then you go ahead and procure your title using that survey plan. You know, for the fact that you have the C of O does not mean that you have escaped litigation.
Okay, all right.
If tomorrow there is a case in court and then the survey is revisited, and it is found that your survey plan is defective or your survey information is defective, then you're on your way to losing that property.
Wow, this is revelation this morning. All right, the Surveyor Akpatira, let's get back to what the surveyor needs to present as an expert witness in court. What are the tools or what are the things that he will use to defend himself?
You mean a surveyor or the...
No, a surveyor. What are the things that he will need to present to be an expert witness?
Yes, like I said initially, a surveyor that wants to present himself as an expert witness must have the training, must have the experience, and must have the technical skills.
Okay.
You must have the technical skills to be able to present complex issues.
Does he need a survey report?
Yes, you need a survey. First of all, when you are being called upon as an expert witness, you first of all do compilation of plans. Okay. So this is when you get the documents that are being submitted to the court. These documents that are being submitted to the court is what you will work on to compile. That's what we call compilation of plans or composition or plan composition, composite plan.
Okay.
So you get these documents. Sometimes you go to the sites to take your field measurements. Then you use what you get on site with the plans or documents that are being submitted in the court of law for that particular case. Then you review those documents. Then you now go, you explain, you give information, spatial analysis on the documents that was being deposited in the court. So those are the things that you need to get used to. And apart from that, as an expert witness, you also need to know the rules and regulations governing the practice of surveying in Lagos State or even in Nigeria as established by SOCON. And you also need to know the Land Use Act of 1978. These are the things that you need to know, because sometimes it's not even about you gathering all this information. Sometimes it's about you being able to explain, to communicate effectively to the court. Let the court see the opinion. You are giving your own opinion. You have to be neutral as an expert witness. Okay. You have to be neutral even when you are called upon by one of the litigants, maybe the defendant or the plaintiff. So you have to be neutral. You present your opinion
the right way it's supposed to be presented
to the court of law in an effective communication manner.
Right. So we are good, Robert. So the dice here will be if your brother is the one that is presenting the plaintiff, can you as a surveyor still be objective?
Oh yes, I think I mentioned this same thing last week that by the uniqueness of the surveying profession is such that you are mandated by law to be very objective, irrespective of what side of the divide you are on. And that is why, as a surveyor, you owe your client that duty and that responsibility to advise him in accordance to the law, irrespective of how it affects his interest. Because for the fact that you are representing him or that you are his surveyor, if that case goes to court, you're not going to the court to speak for your clients. You are going to the court to advise the court on the position of the law regarding that matter.
Okay.
So you don't just defend your client. You don't work based on your client's instructions. There's a place of client's instruction, but the survey rules and regulations, the survey law must supersede your client's instruction. So your client does not have a right to give you an instruction that contradicts the survey law in you servicing his interest.
All right, then Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. The Benchmark is the program, and I have Surveyor Ogona Agu Roberts. He's the Publicity Secretary of APPSN Lagos State Branch, and I also have Surveyor Akpatira in the building as well, member Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, and he is also the Assistant Secretary for the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors Lagos State Branch. All right, getting back to the roads before we begin to hear from you. Yes, those of you who are coming in from the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway corridor, things are still looking very, very good. But from the Lagos-Badagry end, I understand there's road construction, which very much in progress at Ajibade. This is inwards Badagry along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, and that's causing some slow vehicular movement within that particular corridor. Counterflow has been adopted for easy movement, so those of you who are within that end, please take note of that. All right. Incident report as well from the Ojo corridor. Breakdown of an empty 40-foot container laden truck with gas transmission. That's gas transmission failure. This is at Igbo-Ileri bus stop on the service lane, to be precise, right in front of Navy Gate, heading towards Yanoba. Efforts on for its evacuation, while men on ground monitoring the situation, and no effect on traffic right now. All right, so you can join the conversation, feel free, and I'll be on 091 5387 7127 091 5387 7127, and of course be able to connect with my guests who are here with us. All right, so now that we're having more cases that are involving litigation or perhaps land disputes, that means there's going to be a whole lot more for surveyors like you going to the courts to testify. Is that correct, Surveyor Akpatira?
Yes, that is true. That is why we are here to...
have you testified? Have you gone to court to testify as well?
I've accompanied elders of the profession and senior colleagues of the profession to the court of law. I've assisted them in compilation of plans, but I've not been in the witness box for an expert witness for land disputes.
Okay, you've not been there at all.
Yes.
What about Surveyor Agu Ogona Roberts? Have you been there?
Well, same here. I haven't stood in the witness box yet as an expert witness, but I have been involved in plan compilation. I've also been involved in alternative dispute resolution, where I had to compile plans that was used in getting both parties to agree on a common ground.
Right, but
as for standing in as a witness box, not yet.
You've not, but you're hearing of cases that that involve land disputes and litigations?
Oh yes, a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
All right, that's a message here. It says, good morning, Victor. Why are surveyors so important in court cases about land? You didn't put your name, but thank you so much. I think that's what they are really, really talking about here. Maybe Surveyor Ogona Roberts, you want to respond to him? He said, why are surveyors so important?
Okay, yes. Well, surveyors are important in land disputes because they are custodians of special information. You know, they are custodians of special information. Just like in the case where if there is a medical case, if there's a litigation bordering on medical practice, the person that will come in there as an expert witness will be a medical doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist or somebody in the medical profession. You know, the same applies to if there is a case that involves fraud and financial accounts and all that. The expert witness in that case will be an accountant. You know, so when it comes to litigation bordering on land, the best person who has that prerequisite training and certification is a land surveyor.
Right. All right. This one says, good morning, sirs. So I am trying to buy a land, and land disputes are very common in Lagos. In your own experience, what is the biggest mistake people make when buying lands? Thank you. Williams is sending this one in. Surveyor Akpatira, maybe this might just be for you. What are some of those mistakes that people make when buying lands?
One of the mistakes is when you don't consult a registered surveyor to do the search for you.
Okay.
You need a surveyor to carry out a search on the land. So the surveyor is going to go to the site to carry out to pick the coordinates on the boundaries of the land, and the surveyor, as a professional, will still go back to the land registry or office of the state surveyor general to know the status of the land, and will be able to advise you better if you are to buy the land or not.
Okay.
So you need to consult a surveyor before you even buy any land in Lagos State, especially in Lagos State.
All right. So you heard that from him. Before you even proceed, I think your best bet is to ensure that you consult a surveyor. This one says, "Hello, studio. Say, how do you handle situations where two surveyors are giving totally different reports in courts?" Shehu Ibrahim. Shehu Ibrahim, have you seen that before? Well, I've not heard that, but Surveyor Roberts, how do you handle that kind of situation?
So when two surveyors are giving conflicting or contradicting reports to the courts, that is when the courts appoints a neutral surveyor to come in as an expert witness.
Okay.
And then this neutral surveyor is not biased, even though the surveyor by training is not supposed to be biased. But when they are contradicting reports from the surveyors of both parties, it is now the duty of the court to appoint a neutral surveyor to come in and act as an expert witness, advising the court based on all the scenarios. And in a typical situation like that, what this surveyor who is appointed by the court as an expert witness would do would be to get copies of all the survey documents pertaining to the case, and then do a composite survey, which is a compilation of all the surveys, the existing survey plans, and then also go to the site and carry out a fresh measurement of the lands in question, and then prepare another composite survey, or rather prepare another as-built survey.
Okay.
So he is now armed with an as-built survey, which is the survey of existing features on ground, and a composite survey, which is the compilation of all the existing survey plans. So with these two documents, he will now advise the court on whatever he observes to be the contradictions on the matter.
All right, then 08099120777 and 080 that's 09153877127. So when providing expert testimony in land disputes, I know most of you have talked about some of the things that should be done, but let's reflect a bit on some of the challenges that might face the surveyor. So what are some of those challenges when they are providing these expert testimonies, Surveyor Akpatira?
Thank you, Mr. Victor. One of the challenges that we do face is being access to the site,
okay,
for inspection. Sometimes we are being faced with thugs and the rest on the property.
So the owner of the property, who is or perhaps the contending parties might hire thugs.
Yeah, it may not be directly, but somehow you might just find thugs around the area, and which makes it difficult for the surveyor to carry out a physical inspection on the site. But thank God for the technology that we have in our profession
right now.
Yes, right now. So you can have access to the site without going there physically.
Okay.
You can use drones, which we can use area photography, area images to censor. So that is one of the major difficulties that we do have
in the car.
Yes.
All right. This one says, I am curious, do surveyors also get cross-examined in court like regular witnesses? Esther from Anthony is sending that one in.
We are not being cross-examined. What we do in the court of law when it comes to expert witness is to give our opinion, to give our presentation to the court.
Okay. And
this presentation is to make the judge give a fair judgment and a proper judgment on the land.
So it's to help him?
Yes, it's to help the court. We have to put the court in mind because some of the documents are technical and complex matters. So it is the surveyor as an expert witness that will be able to analyze this by carrying out a thorough investigation on all the matters.
All right, this one says, hello Vicky D, greetings to your guests. This is Biodun from Lekki, but now in Adinyo. All right, Biodun, thank you so much. So please, I have these two questions for your guests. How can boundary disputes between neighbors be resolved? And two, what compensation is owed to it's owed to landowners in case of government acquisition? Thank you, Vicky D. All right, thank you, Biodu, for this question. Ogona Roberts, quickly, maybe you respond to me as a roundoff.
Okay, so how can neighbors who have disputes resolve their boundary disputes? So the first thing I would advise, if I'm privileged to advise such neighbors, is to toe the path of peace. There is no need to be violent.
Okay,
that's the first thing. First, and then next, let's get all the facts right, because what we have experienced most of the times is that the first person who gets to a site is usually tempted to overshoot his boundary.
Definitely.
He's usually tempted to overshoot his boundary. I had a scenario like that where, I was developing a property, and then neighbors were coming and they were advising, said, since you're the first to get here, you have the privilege of overshooting your boundary. Why not just go ahead and just encroach into the road? That road, nobody's going to use it and all that. I told them, I'm a surveyor. I must not be caught to be erring, in matters like this.
Right.
So the first thing is to ask them, who exactly came in first? What did you meet on ground? And then you will now be able to advise, okay, Mr. A has overshot his boundary. Yes, he has probably developed. How do you intend to compensate Mr. B, who you have encroached into his property? Because a lot of times, demolition might not always be the answer.
All right. And but for compensation, quickly, compensation,
yes.
Is there a way people that are, perhaps lost or landowners, is there a way they can be compensated?
Yes, there are a lot of factors to be considered. One, do you actually have rights to that land?
Okay.
Two, do you have relevant titles to that land? Because most times government will not pay compensation over land that you don't have title over. Because that is what confers ownership to you.
All right.
Yes.
Biodu, thank you so much for that question. Let's begin to wrap things up right now. So, Surveyor Akpatira, what's your message as relates to this particular subject, surveyors as expert witnesses in land disputes and litigation?
Yes, my message to Lagosians and the public is that before a surveyor can stand as an expert witness in the court of law, one of the requirements is the SOCON certificate.
Okay.
It is being tendered in the court of law. So why do you now engage a surveyor, somebody that is not a surveyor, to help you handle your land matter?
Right.
So my advice is for the public is to engage a surveyor, somebody that is registered by the Surveyors Council of Nigeria, to assist you in carrying out your survey matters to avoid land disputes in the future. Okay
then, and Surveyor Roberts, quickly, 30 seconds, what's your patent thought?
Yes, insist on getting your survey right from the word go. Litigation is always expensive and time consuming, so it's better you get things done the right way to avoid litigation in the end. All right, then we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for connecting with us. Surveyor Ogona Roberts, thank you for linking up with us. Thank you very much. And Surveyor Akpatira, it's nice having you in the building. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we've reflected on surveyors as expert witnesses in land disputes and litigation, and that's a conversation we started last week, which has been continued. Surveyor Akpatira A. Babashegun has been with us. He's a member of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, also the Lagos State Branch Assistant Secretary for that particular body. Surveyor Ogona Roberts, regular on this platform, member Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Publicity Secretary, APPSN Lagos State Branch. We have to go. The program this morning, as usual, has been produced by Mike James, and I say big thank you to Okpayemi Shodunke and Daniel Downsey, not forgetting our executive producer Taya Conley. My name is Victor Terry. Have a splendid weekend and enjoy your day. All right, I'm out. Stay very much within. Bye.